Which is the only
Well,
good thing about
maybe try writing Odyssey about that and be like, hey, if you want more people to live stream, you should create a nice control panel.
Yeah. Oh, I bet they are. I bet they're working on it.
Probably.
Alrighty. We are live. Live out to the
Yay!
world right now. And I have a camera again. Found out what the problem was.
What was the problem?
Somebody unplugged it.
Ah,
It's amazing. It doesn't work if it's not plugged into the computer.
not usually, no. Kind of make me
So,
think of that joke of someone calling into a help center and the tech trying to go through everything, and then the person says, "Well, I can't see this because there's because it's too dark." Oh, well, turn on the light. I can't. The power's out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. That was quite funny. I believe that was an actual tech support call.
Probably.
Oh, yeah,
I had some interesting tech support calls when I worked for AT&T.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole lot of unintelligent people out there. Scary.
I think my favorite was when they managed to call me off their cell phone, but they couldn't call anyone else, and it turned out they were forgetting to press the call button.
Oh, well, that's a beauty. So chickens are figuring themselves out.
Oh, excellent!
I didn't have to traumatize them last night to put them back in their coop.
Awesome.
I went out there, they were all in the coop, and I went, cool. All right, just close it down a little early tonight. And this morning, they let themselves out. I was a little late getting up and moving out there to take feed out to them, so they were out there picking and scratching.
Perfect. It's good. It means they're getting comfortable, right?
Yeah, well, sooner or later they'll get comfortable with me. Every time I get near the pen, they all run for the corner underneath the chicken coop.
Yeah, well, you chuck them into the pen, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, to the coop.
Into the coop, man. I traumatize the poor little things.
Maybe they think every time you come near them, you're coming near them to put them away again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's all it is. It's like, oh no, I don't want to go home yet.
Could be. Could be, but they're spending more time. They're spending more and more time outside now, which is good. Of course, it's sunny and nice out. So,
is building a playground for chickens a thing?
It is. There are people that build playgrounds. I'm going to build them little toys once they get big enough and start using their entire run. I'm going to put things in the rest of their run area so they can play. You want to alleviate chicken boredom, I'm told, because chickens get bored, and chickens get bored.
I'll bet you if you built a seesaw for them, they would have loads of fun with that.
I don't know. You can try that. All kinds of little random things for the chickens. Alrighty. Everything is looking pretty good so far. The stream, show notes.
All appears to be in order.
Scary as that seems.
Yeah, I think maybe it has to do with the weather. Perhaps the AI is appreciating the weather today too and decided to be nice today.
Yeah, maybe.
Or, maybe the AI just got their coffee and is not quite as aggressive as usual.
Uh-huh. So what kind of coffee would an AI drink?
Well, that's what I've been thinking. I'm thinking it has to be some kind of memory that they would consume.
Mm-hmm.
Memory or something like. Maybe it's internet.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what's happening whenever our internet starts glitching out. Is they're having their dose of internet.
Could be.
What would that be? The bandwidth of the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be their version of a cup of coffee, drinking up the bandwidth, which is why people end up getting kicked off and their internet starts slowing down.
Why not?
What do you think?
I have no idea. The thought just occurred to me. So what kind of coffee would an AI drink? What would be an AI's coffee? That's about as far as that thought traveled in my brain.
Well, now push the thought further. I want to hear what you might think.
No.
Their coffee would be.
I have no idea. I'm not even going to wander down that road right now.
Why? It's so much fun.
I'm sure it is. Tons and tons of fun.
I have to say, there's one drawback to doing the show at this time.
What's that?
This is usually the time that I start getting hungry. And, of course, the kidlets, this is the time that they get their snack or whatever for school. So I was end up smelling food while I'm on the air.
Oh, we could move it. We could move it to earlier. We could go to 9 a.m.
No, I don't think we should do that.
Right now, we're competing with No Agenda because they go live at 11. Not that we really have much to worry about as far as competition goes, because there's not that many people that bother us. But
two entirely different groups of people, I think. Well, maybe not entirely different.
Not
but...
entirely different. Thinking of groups, we got another RSVP for the meetup this weekend. Two of them.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Two more RSVPs came in this week.
Nice.
Yeah, so we might actually have a few people show up. It'll be a nice little party. Nice little party.
Be nice to meet people.
All right, it is time for the music to carry us to the show.
Know your story, don't even have my own. In search for glory, on with them secret rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they are the answer, not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, Lord knows where I belong. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie in the jigger, just seen him done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, kids who doing time. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Definitely mine.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. We're going on with them stickers. Oh, we're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. just sitting doing time.
Oh, maybe the AI was appreciative of talking about its coffee.
Maybe.
All right, it is time. Let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Multifaceted plugin, WordPress plugins. It's episode 567, and we have plugins for Recipe Pro, Daily Bible, Say What? Description Header, Hide Notifications, WP Front Bar, and Classic Press Options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gem? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the oasis deep in the heart of the Cowichan Valley. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we have the usual great show for you today, but of course, a couple things right off the top to remember. Please, this is a value for value show. If you're getting any value out of it, kick some value back. That value can be whatever you feel it's worth. Obviously, a lot of you feel it's worth less, but we'd really appreciate someone feeling the worth of it and sending something our way. All right, and don't forget to hang around for the end of the show for the Q&A segment with Amber. It's always loads of fun, entertaining, and sometimes the questions are straight out of left field. And with all of that stuff, I suppose.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
There you go.
Ooh, some of those are really loud.
Well, I can't do anything about that. So the AI wanted you to really hear them today.
Apparently, because usually I just, either I barely hear it or I hear it, but today it's just bam, right in my ears. So today is number 26 of 52 episodes for 2022. Sorry, one sec.
Gag. Gotta swallow. Don't breathe and swallow. It's not good for you. Never good for you to breathe and swallow.
My cat is shedding. I've noticed I've been coughing a lot since he started really shedding. So, I was kind of blinded today when I got up and started work because the sunshine, it's the brightest sunshine we've had so far this year. It was just right in my face and would not leave my eyeballs alone. I had to actually close my blinds in order to continue working. And if anybody else is in an area that doesn't get much sunshine, like here on the wet coast, every time there is sunshine, get yourself out there and enjoy it. Drag the kids, drag your friends, have a picnic or something. Get out there and enjoy that sunshine. Absorb that vitamin D. And remember, leave your socials at home while you're out, and you will feel way better when you get home. I can't guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
Oh, yeah.
Get out there, be a kid.
Absolutely. I suppose we should just move on to the news.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
No, with Amber. I really got to
So
change
the first
that.
one I have is WordPress Vulnerability Report, June 22nd of 2022. There is a fairly decent-sized list for the plugins to worry about today, though be sure to also check the fixed plugins as well. Like Gravity PDF is on the fixed list this week, so make sure you check those regularly too.
Cool.
Some of the ones that I recognized in the plugins to be fixed this week are things like pricing deals for WooCommerce, comment license, custom pop-up builder, rename WP login.php, WordPress team manager. So that's just the ones that I immediately recognized. Check them out. If you see any that you or your clients use, go and do an update. Or for now, actually deactivating them would be a good idea.
Yep, if there's no update for them.
Yeah. Next, we have WordPress.org forces security update for critical Ninja Forms vulnerability. So just real quickly, I also have a couple articles on this that does more geek speak in the extras if anybody is interested. This just goes over the basics of how last week Ninja Form users got a forced update for PHP object injection vulnerability, which means that this vulnerability made it possible to be remotely exploited without anyone needing authentication of any kind. Oddly enough, though, Ninja Forms didn't post about this update on its blog or social media accounts or anything. They just did it. So
Interesting.
if you haven't gotten that update for whatever reason, go update. Next, we have WordPress.org strongly urges theme authors to switch to locally hosted web fonts. This comes out after the recent German court case, which fined the website owner for violating the GDPR by using Google-hosted web fonts. Yep. The themes team is also considering banning remotely hosted web fonts moving forward, though this is still being discussed. Core contributors are now working on updating all the default themes from 2012 through 2017 to use locally hosted web fonts. This could affect your sites if you use Google Web Fonts, so be aware of this. Oh, yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, it's gonna happen. It's you can thank the GDPR for that sort of insanity.
Yeah.
So, because it was easier to have the web fonts from Google, it saved a lot of time, grief, and bandwidth off of your site. Granted, fonts don't have much bandwidth, but still. But in truth, if you can host your fonts locally, your site will be faster.
And we've actually covered, I know at least one plugin that we've covered where they'll take whatever Google fonts you're using and they'll turn them into locally hosted for you.
Yep.
There's a few of them out there. So check our lists or just go and search for it yourself. And you can actually take whatever fonts you are currently using and turn them in locally hosted, which which may solve the issue.
Absolutely. All right.
Next up, GitHub makes Copilot available to the public for $10 a month, free for students and open source project maintainers. So Copilot is GitHub's new AI pair programming assistant, and it's available to verified students and maintainers of open source projects as an extension for popular code editors, including NuVim, JetBrains IDEs, Visual Studio, and Visual Studio Code.
Very nice.
Could be awesome. Elementor lays off 15% of workforce, citing rising inflation and impending recession. This sucks. Elementor.
Go ahead.
Elementor recently bought Delicious Brains plugins. So I didn't think they'd end up having to do this, but luckily, of the people that they are laying off, they're not actually laying off anyone from the company's engineers and development staff. So it's mainly in the marketing department.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing because it means their product shouldn't suffer from the layoffs.
Yes, but the interesting thing is they always start with laying off the marketing department first.
Yeah.
And they work their way into the core because the marketing department's important, but of course it's not as important as maintaining the product.
Yeah.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, it really sucks.
Yeah. Belt tightening time, folks. Everywhere.
Yeah. Next we have Microsoft June Windows updates may break Wi-Fi hotspots. I wanted to bring this forth and let everyone know, because if you've been having trouble using your Wi-Fi hotspots lately, that is due to the June 2022 patch forced onto us last month. Last month. This is now an issue, or there is now an issue with using Wi-Fi hotspots all over. It's affecting the device's capability to connect to one another on the same network without being directly plugged into one another.
Yeah.
This article actually gives you a workaround. The workaround really is just turn off the hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
But what it really means is they're working on it. They're trying to figure it out. But if you're wondering why you're having issues using your Wi-Fi hotspots, that's why.
Cool.
And last, AlphaFold 2 AI has learned how to do chemistry. I just thought this is a cool article. It explains the history of AlphaFold AI, how it's been worked on since 2016, and how it has now figured out how to do the chemistry. Should hopefully bring some new and exciting things to the world of science, or, give the AIs another tool to take over the world. Either way, I think it's pretty neat.
I was just asking. I was just thinking. I wonder if it's doing inventing new drugs. And sure shit, right here, drug design.
Yep. And creation of organic compounds. Maybe the AIs will have bodies before we realize it.
Yeah, quite possibly. Alrighty.
The Google AI is said to be sentient now.
Yeah. Leave that when we see it. With that, let's go talk about.
It's time to donate to WP. Plugin A to Z.
This show won't work without you, the producers, as this is a value for value kind of show. If you find value in our show, toss some value back. Help keep the show going so we can keep on plugging. Show producers. This is where we like to take the time to thank everyone who supports the show. And everyone who supports the show is a producer of the show. This week's show art is by Greg's Graphics, we should really just call him part of the official team.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this is awesome and really creepy. I really don't like things with more than 4 legs.
Yeah, I'm not overly.
And yet I find them fascinating.
Yes, this is a great picture. Great picture of a spider. I'm not even sure what kind of spider. It's just a creepy crawly thing.
Pretty sure it's a type of tarantula.
It looks like a type of tarantula. I do like how he worked the logo in behind the spider legs. That was very nicely done.
Definitely.
Yeah. It was well done.
Honestly, I hadn't even noticed that. I'm just creeped out by the spider. But it's a really good picture.
It's a really good picture of a spider. Very nice one. Stands out. It's something to get you.
It has shadows and everything.
Mm-hmm. It is a good one. Nice work, Greg. We really appreciate it. We're running out of artwork again, so more artwork, Greg. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it.
If you want to submit your own artwork, you can go to wppluginsa2z.com/artwork. We would love for everyone to start sending in more artwork, even spidery artwork, even though it creeps me out.
Oh yeah, anything. We got lots and lots of artwork in here. It's been coming along quite nicely.
I love our artists. They're so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Show executive producers up on the stage this week. Unfortunately, nobody is there. Executive producers are the ones coming in with $50 or more in donations. You can also send in a note that will be read out live on the show. Backroom producers hanging out in the lounge. Well, they're the ones who are always hanging out in the lounge, having coffee and whatnot. And they are a big part in keeping the show going. Some of these producers are the anonymous benefactors coming in with donations under $50. Some of them are the ones who help us out with our contests, artwork, and site organization. Some of them send notes in to us, or questions, or plugin suggestions, or even plugin reviews they'd like to have up on the show. And some of them help us out by sending in licenses for the contest. Our least visible backroom producers help us out by hiring us, which is just as good as donating to the show, and it gives us the added bonus of more experience to bring to our listeners here on the show. A big thank you to all the producers out there. We could not do the show without you. And you can support the show with your time, talent, or treasure. If you need a description on how you can do one of those 3 things, you can check them out in the show notes. I have a lovely description for all 3. And if you have any ideas, reach out and I'll add them to the list.
Absolutely.
And if you want...
I just said absolutely. You just keep talking.
And if you want to send something in to us through snail mail, you can find our address in the show notes as well.
Excellent. All right. It is time for us to move on to the meat potatoes of the show. What everyone shows up here for. All right. Classic Press resources and plugins. We don't have anything really new for Classic Press resources. Aside from it looks like the number of plugins in the repository dropped to 75. So somebody must have yanked their plugins from it.
That's sad.
That is sad. Classic Press maybe not going to make it. I don't know. It'll just hang around on the periphery for forever. Looks like we're stuck with WordPress, folks, and all of its flaws. All right, what do we got for WordPress plugins this week? First up for WordPress plugins, the first one I have for you is called WP Recipe Maker and the Pro version, because it does come in a free and pro version. And I currently use this recipe maker over on my website, the Rogues Oasis, and it is an excellent recipe program. I got it when it was relatively new. I had a recipe program, but the people using it, they started messing with it and broke it, and they weren't fixing it, and it just got worse. And finally I went, okay, I'm abandoning this and get myself a new one. And I'd researched several of them and finally tripped across this one here. And it has been improving. I've been using it for a good couple of years now, maybe 3 years, and it's done nothing but improve. It's a fantastic plugin that has lots of options in it when you're free. If you opt to go for the pro version, it's really not that much, somewhere around 40, 50 bucks a year. And it gives you excellent options in it, such as when you create your list of ingredients in your recipe, if you're an affiliate program with Amazon or something, you can put your Amazon affiliate link in there, and people click on the ingredient, they can go buy it on Amazon, or you can, in my case, I direct them into my own little store to buy everything. You can add pictures and videos in it. If you're really hyper OCD and you want to put in nutrition information and serving sizes and other things into the recipe, this recipe offers it all. And then it offers up the micro data that Google loves so much for recipes and handles it quite nicely. All in all, a fantastic plugin, WP Recipe Maker and the Pro version. Go check it out, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
Oh, I didn't hear the dragon.
Oh, you hear everything else but not the dragon. Oh well.
I guess the dragon doesn't like me today.
Maybe not.
The first one I have is Heading with Description Elementor Widget.
God, that's a really rough one to say. They should have They should have reworded that.
Heading with Description Elementor Widget. There we go. I got it up more cleanly that time.
It still comes out rough.
This is a newer plugin, and I think it could be very useful for some out there. I know that for a couple people that I've helped with their websites, they wanted the description closer to the heading, and I had to change the sizing rather than being able just to have it in the same thing. This is something you can use, and it works really well. It's designed for Elementor, and once you download and activate it, you'll just have the thing pop up. Oh, apparently nobody else heard the roar either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Well, then I'll have to see why it did that, because I heard it just fine.
Well, this plugin will be very useful for designs. It's easy to use, and it's got the same setting options as all the other Elementor widgets, which that isn't always the case, I found. Sometimes you'll get a widget, you only have just a few options within the widget that you can change it around, but this one you are in complete control, just like with typical Elementor stuff. And it's totally free. I rate this at 5 dragons. Let's see if we hear the roar.
No, it said it was kicking it out.
I kind of heard it. It sounded almost like a clearing of the throat.
Yeah. One more time.
A little better that time.
Yeah, okay. Maybe the dragon's sort of choking. All right, the next one.
Maybe he breathed in some cat hair.
Yeah, it could be. The next one I have for you here is called Daily Bible Verse. Now, if you're a person that wants to have a Bible verse pop up on your website, or you really just want to share Bible verses with everyone, this is a really cool one. It's very simple and straightforward. It creates a widget, and it creates a nice image background overlay on the daily Bible verse. So it does a really good job. Kicks out a random Bible verse through an API, and you got to connect to the Bible verse API, and you get it. It's a pretty decent little item. Lots of fun for those that want a daily Bible verse somewhere on their website, or if you happen to be a church. It's really great for a church because then you can put it in a couple of different places and get random daily Bible verses for people throughout your website. All in all, go check it out. It's called Daily Bible Verse and then widget, and it has I give it a 4 dragon rating. My tongue twisted on itself.
Seems to be a day for that. And the next plugin I have is WP Hide Notification Updates and Warnings. So I know that I've reviewed Dobby plugin a couple times, but over the last couple weeks, I've realized the Dobby plugin, it messes with the dashboard of Slider Revolution. And I can't have that since I'm actually using Slider Revolution quite a bit while making how-to videos. So this is not a good thing to have. So I went out searching for other plugins that'll hide all the notices for me. I found this one, which kind of does half the job of Dobby. And what it does is it hides all the notifications for the activated plugins. And cool thing about it, it will you can choose which ones to hide the notifications and updates and warnings for. So if you want to see notifications for a certain plugin and not the others, you have that option. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything about the WordPress notifications. So it does like half the job of Dobby, but it doesn't mess around with anything else. It seems to play nice with others, but better than I thought Dobby did.
Cool.
So really cool. Worth checking out if you're looking to hide things from your everyday view. I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool. And thinking of looking to hide things or change things, you want to check out this plugin. Say what? Yeah, I can't even do that right. At any rate, this is a really cool little plugin, mostly for fun or for randomness. All those little things in your dashboard, your menus, your tools, users, all those names there, you can, with this plugin, go in and change those words to whatever you want them to say. For instance, change the tools to stuff in that or random toolbox of junk. Do that to all the different things in there. It'd be a great way to mess with other administrators, or if you want something more understandable than the standard labels for all the menus, you can use this to change them up so that you know where things are on your own website. All in all, just a cool, simple, straightforward plugin that can be of use or a fun tool to mess with people. Check it out. It's called Say What? And I give it a 5 dragon rating.
Nope.
No dragon.
No roar.
Oh, well. I heard the roar. Maybe it'll be on the local recording I'm making for the show.
Maybe. Your alter ego said that they weren't hearing the roar either, though.
Yeah, well, not much we can do.
And the last one I've got for today is WP Front Notification Bar. This is a nifty plugin and allows you to add a notification bar for the front end of your site. You can have it on the top or bottom, and in the free version, you have a decent amount of control over it. You can choose how long it lasts, whether it has a button, how wide and tall the bar is, so on and so forth. And then you get a lot more control if you upgrade to Pro version. This is easy to set up, and for those newer to the scene, they have these little question marks, and when you mouse over it, it doesn't just say something where you have to have a whole bunch of background in working on sites in order to understand their little description. This actually talks in layman's terms and explains things rather than just a little notation. Like they have an option of attach on shutdown, and they actually warn you this is last resort if whatever this isn't working, and it may cause issues if you choose to put it on. Full sentences, completely understandable. I really like that about this plugin.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun to set up. If you enjoy setting things up, you might lose it like an hour or two just setting this up and playing with it. Lots of fun. I rate it at 4 dragons.
Very cool. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any customer feedback, questions, or anything else here today. And of course, right now we're still waiting for our contest simpletons to go out there and fetch one and bring it back to us.
I think worker bees is a better description.
There's the word I was looking for. For some reason, my brain went to simpletons. All right, and
worker bees.
we got to cover up a few things here before we move on to the Q&A segment. And first thing we need to do is cover up the plugins I covered in this episode were WP Recipe Maker and the Pro version, which I gave a 5 to, the Daily Bible Verse, which I gave a 4 to, and Say What, which I gave a 5 to.
You have way too much fun with that title.
Well, that's partly why I grabbed it, was the title.
And I covered Heading with Description Elementor Widget. Oh my goodness, I really need to change that name. I rated this at 5. WP Hide Notifications, Updates, and Warnings, which I rated at 4. And WP Front Notification Bar, which I rated at 4.
Very cool. And of course, a couple of quick reminders. We do have a meetup this weekend. You've got a couple of days left to RSVP and come join us for the party. We've so far got, 6-10 people are going to be here for the party. At least they said they would be. So it'll be quite the party. Nice afternoon, sitting in the oasis, drinking beer, have a fire, barbecuing dogs, burgers. If you want beer, though, you got to bring your own beer. Other than that, I'm just supplying Coke. And not the kind of white powder Coke. We're talking about the liquid stuff, folks.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Yes, I'm so used to just saying Coke, and it always comes out wrong. At any rate, it'll be a grand old time, and we're forecasted for sunshine, which is the first forecast for sunshine in like 5 months. So
Yep.
I'm hoping that they don't get this one wrong. So at any rate, it'll be lots of fun. For those of you out there that like to be interviewed, you developers or programmers or WordPress aficionados, you can reach out to me for an interview show at wppluginsaToZ.com/interview. And if you have plugins for suggestions suggestions for plugins that you would like reviewed, you can submit them to the website at wppluginsaToZ.com, submit plugin review. And you don't even have to be the writer of the plugin. It's just, if you got a plugin that you think everyone should know about, submit it to us. All right. That pretty much wraps all of that up. So we're going to move into the Q&A segment with Amber.
It's question and answer time.
Hello.
I'm guessing it ended. Okay.
Oh,
All I heard was it's question and answer time. I didn't hear any other part.
That's weird.
I know. It's like quiet, then really loud in my ears. It's question and answer time. And that's it.
That's weird that you didn't get the whole thing.
I know.
Yeah. I guess the AI still has to mess with us.
So before I get started, if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and we will get them up here and see if we can stump my dad. First question is, why do you think companies like Google tend to hide so many things, like Chrome's hidden search sidebar? It's something I've noticed, like in Evernote, in this Chrome sidebar. It's a whole bunch of different things that they seem to have these hidden functions, and in order to learn about them, you have to go look it up.
Yeah. I have honestly no idea. All these things used to be out in the open, except for the occasional Easter egg here and there. But over the last 5-10 years, I've noticed they started hiding everything and only putting the basics out there for people. All I can think about is the lowering of the IQ of the average user. They've gone from people who were tech savvy, of course, that's who created the internet and created everything, to your standard average user who can barely find the power on button when the lights are off.
So 6-year-olds.
6-year-olds, yeah. And I do know that there's a thing in psychology called the overwhelming of choices. And what happens is, if too many choices are placed in front of somebody, they'll freeze. They won't make a choice. They'll walk away.
And how do we go grocery shopping?
Well, you'll notice that you don't really have a lot of choices in most grocery stores. Some of your superstores will have multiple choices, but most grocery stores don't. They have limited. They like have 3 different brands of a particular item. You know, and they put lots of them up there. It looks like you have lots of choice, but you really don't. If you pay attention, you'll realize you really don't have lots of choice. There's shelves full of multiple of them. But this is what I see it is, you know, those of us who have a little bit of ADHD don't mind all the tons of choices in front of us because we'll just pop from one to the other.
Yeah.
We'll just go, oh, that one looks cool. Oh, wait, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. And we'll just pop. But most people don't suffer that problem, and they get too many choices and they freeze. The other thing is when there's lots of choices, they'll click on things and they'll break shit and they won't know what they did. And then that
happens, yeah.
Then they call tech support and they spend hours on tech support getting frustrated and frustrating tech support. And, you know, the biggest thing that breaks companies, especially WordPress plugins, for example, isn't the development of the plugin. It's the maintenance of the plugin, the support of the plugin.
Okay.
It's supporting the plugins, it's supporting the people with all the questions. And most of the questions, probably a good 60% of questions can be answered if you just go look at their Q&A segment on their website or their knowledge base on their website. You can answer it. It's like I've had 98% of all my questions ever answered by just visiting the company's website and finding the answer in amongst their stuff. But most people won't do that. They're too lazy.
Or they simply don't know that it exists.
Well, they don't think to try. I didn't know these things existed until I looked.
Yeah.
You know, it's you got to try. But the only reason I can think of why so many things are hidden is because of that, is to make their support life easier. Because the people who find this stuff, the people who go find this stuff are the ones that are interested. They're more tech savvy. You know, they want to go above and beyond. Those are the people that go find this stuff now.
Okay. Well, that does make sense.
Yeah.
My next question is, why do you think companies have started the forced update thing, like what Microsoft has been doing?
Again, they're catering to the lowest common denominator of user. And part of the reason they did that, now, back before Windows 10 started with its forced updates and you had Windows 7, Windows 6, you know, when you could update whenever you got around to it, part of the problem is people like me wouldn't update. Even when it was a security issue, we wouldn't always update. We'd just say, yeah, screw it, you know, and keep going. The problem they found is that your average user, your lowest common denominator, also wouldn't update. And when the machine would break, they would call tech support. Whereas if the machine would break because I didn't update, I'd go, oh yeah, okay, that was stupid of me. And I would go fix the problem and then go do the updates. But they couldn't handle the support load of answering questions for people. And so now they force the updates on them. Now, the problem with forced updates is, of course, for those of us that like to have computers that function really well, we'll get everything tweaked really well. They'll come along with an update that undoes all our tweaking. And we have to...
Why do you think that happened?
Because they're fixing something.
Undoing.
Because they're fixing something. They're fixing or changing something. And
that resets everything?
And it resets stuff.
Okay.
When you fix or change things, it sometimes resets shit. So it resets shit. And they don't really care if it resets stuff because it puts it back to its default configurations, the way it's supposed to work. And it still works, but it doesn't work the way us power users want it to work.
Okay.
So, and that's why they do it. They do it to deal with the lowest common denominator of user. And of course, you got to think about it, you know, go back 10 years. There was we'll give it a random number because I don't know the numbers. We'll say we got 8 billion people on the planet now, 6 billion people are using computers. Go back 10 years, only 3 billion used them. Go back 20 years, only 1 billion people used it. You know, so, and that's the problem. you've got lots and lots of people that are using it. That's all they really know how to do is turn it on and log in.
Okay. Why do you think the language of things keeps changing on computers, like programs now being called apps?
Okay, the language thing still annoys the hell out of me. And
Yeah.
I think that is part of the changing of the language police, and also when they created the smartphone, they didn't want to call it programs because they weren't really programs on a smartphone. They were applications that ran with programs because the programs were hosted elsewhere. And so what happened is that language just fell over to computers, and it confused those of us. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm going to put an app. An app is an add-on to a program. I need a program to run on my computer. And it turns out, they're talking about the same part and parcel. It's a language police thing. The reason we can't say master and slave anymore, or your hard drives, your master drive and your slave drive. We can't say those anymore, because it's racist.
It's all very confusing right now.
It's all about language policing and changing language. If you change language, you change the way people think.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So that's pretty much what's happening there.
So I'll read out these last two questions that are kind of two in one.
Okay.
Why do you think large companies and banks have been moving towards having everything done over a phone through an app rather than allowing their customers to keep on doing things over the computer like Shaw and banks do? And do you think we will find ourselves working on phones alone in the future like some have been thinking? Or do you think there will always be computers for those like me who prefer the computer to a phone any day of the week?
That is a very good question, and I do have some answers for that one. But I will let our girl take us on out of here first, and then we will come back, and hopefully it plays out so everyone can hear it.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, here's the question. Why do you think large companies and banks have been moving towards having everything done over the phone through an app rather than allowing their customers to keep on doing things over the computer like Shaw and the banks do? Part of that there is because they want to track you. Those that prefer using the phone don't seem to understand, for the most part, how much tracking is being done while you're using that phone. They're tracking everything. They're tracking where you are, when you're using it. They know when you're sitting on the toilet doing your banking, all of the things like that. They know exactly where you are in your house now. But
And that helps them to sell their product and helps them to enlarge their empire.
That's right. And that's what it's all about. It's all about selling the product increasing the empire, just a whole lot of miscellaneous things. They want that. When you're on your computer, there's still some tracking, but it's very minimal. And of course, it's always in the same spot. It's always at the same spot and whatever random times of day that you happen to do your stuff, unless you're a person on an absolute forced habit and you do it at the same time every day or every time you use it. But it's all about tracking, and it's all about wanting to know where, when, and how people are using their phones. And the phone, there's so much tracking that goes on in a phone. It's just insane. If you do the research on it, I haven't done it in a while, but the articles still come to me, 10 different ways your phone is tracking you every time you use it, things like that. There's lots of stuff in here. And do you think we'll find ourselves working on phones alone in the future like some have been thinking, or do you think we'll always be computers for those like me? And I definitely prefer the computer over the phone any day of the week. This is a yes and no. They want people to use phones, but the problem with a phone is I can't see the bloody screen. It's too small. And I've got one of the larger phones. Even an iPad is not a comfortable thing for me to work on, because I need to have a big monitor and multiple things. I need multiple screens because I'll do something on one screen while looking at another screen to do something. Not everyone wants or needs that. So in the future, I don't know. It's going to be a tough call. I think computers are still going to be with us. Desktop computers, laptops are still going to be with us to some extent. They're going to keep encouraging people to use phones and make it harder and harder to do things without a phone. They keep trying to do things without a phone. And I just keep, when I'm forced into, there are some companies that will force you. The only way you can do this is with an app to your phone. It's like, okay, well, I guess I don't want that product then. That's my option to it. I guess I just don't want that product that badly because I really don't want to use a phone for it. I want to use a computer.
That's something that I've been dealing with too, yeah.
There may come a time where hopefully it won't come a time where the product will be absolutely necessary in my life and I have to have a phone to do it. It's like I'm trying to figure out ways to get away from my phone entirely, and not have it at all. I wish I'd never gotten rid of my old flip phone, because that would be what I'd be carrying around with me all the time, is my flip phone.
I miss my old Nokia.
That's what
I
miss.
like Snake Game.
I enjoyed my old Nokia flip phone. So, I thought it was cool when the iPhone was introduced. Well, actually, at first I thought it was idiotic, and then I accepted it and thought it was cool, and I thought it was useful, and then it was very, very useful, and then I found out what it was doing, and I went, "Oh fuck, this is dumb." I got sucked right in. So, at any rate, we're faced with a future right now where we don't know what it is. In fact, probably my bet is they're going to stick the phone in front of your face. The AI devices. Have you seen the AI headsets?
I think I've seen them, but I don't.
Okay.
I mean, there's been glasses and there's been all kinds of stuff that people have been able to use their phone and see their screen on for a while now.
Ask your younger brother about it. He has an AI headset that he plays video games on. And
that thing.
Yes.
I've tried it on a couple times and I get really dizzy and fall down every time.
See, that's what they're trying to push us towards, though. That's what they're building towards. That's what they really want. It's basically an iPhone turned sideways and mounted in a headset. Is what it is basically. Yeah, it's very basics. They would love to push us to the Ready Player One world. Or even Ready
Player One world.
For you, it's terms of service.
Oh, okay.
The book terms of service. They're trying to push us towards that world.
Yeah.
Where everyone has a headset, and that headset is what guides them through life. And that's what they want. But will it happen? Hard to say. It's you got enough people that are willing to do that, though. So it's really hard to know. At any rate, we'll call it at that. That's an interesting discussion, and that's a discussion that should happen on our other show, because then we could really get into it.
Agreed. I'll make sure I move it over. I'll move it over in the notes.
All right. That's all we got for you now. I think we'll have a little music to carry us out.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread. We're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.